Good morning, it's Thursday, May 1st, 2025. Mental health is real. Seek help and the stigma are the news this morning. Rivers government to return free buses, pay local government workers minimum wage. Governor Fubara pledges continued support for workers amid political strain. Rivers government defends retrieval of vehicles from suspended deputy governor's residence. NJC reverses appointment of acting Imo CJ, suspends 3 other justices. On the foreign scene, US-Ukraine signed long-awaited natural resources deal. Details of these and more after this break. I'm Ife Chukwumoyele with the news. Now today, Nigeria workers join their counterparts worldwide to mark May Day, also known as Workers' Day. However, rather than celebrating, workers in Nigeria find little cause for joy. Labour leaders say the Nigerian worker has been crippled by the high cost of prices and soaring inflation, which they added made the 70,000 naira minimum wage inconsequential. Now, speaking on the situation, NLC President Joe Ajaero said the worsening socioeconomic situation has further deteriorated their living conditions, leaving many impoverished. Ajaero said the fight for the full implementation of the national minimum wage is ongoing across many states, and they must brace themselves to ensure that all states and the private sector comply with the law, even as they begin to push for a wage review beyond the minimum to address the widespread hardship. Now, in Rivers State, workers will hold their rally within the premises of the Labour Secretariat, involving all affiliate unions in order to advocate for the restoration of democratic governance in the state. The NLC gave the directive in a letter that said, given the peculiar circumstance of the subversion of democratic governance in Rivers State, the celebration should not involve fanfare, but rather a sober reflection. In the meantime, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has praised the resilience, dedication, and professionalism of the Rivers workforce, particularly in light of ongoing challenges to democratic governance in the state. In his message of solidarity and appreciation, Governor Fubara encouraged them to stay hopeful and united, assuring them that the forces of justice, peace, and progress will prevail. The governor reaffirmed his administration's dedication to workers' welfare and called on all employers to respect labor laws and uphold the rights and dignity of every worker. Now, he acknowledged the effort of the federal government in advancing labor reforms and promoting climate-conscious policies that support a healthier, safer working environment nationwide. Now, this year's Workers' Day theme is ensuring safety and health at work in a changing climate. Similarly, the Rivers State Sole Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibogete Eba, says the fuel subsidy intervention buses have been reintroduced with plans to expand the fleet. The administrator said this when he met with leadership of organized labor at the government house in Port Harcourt yesterday. The administrator also listed the payment of approved minimum wage to all local government employees, approval for payment of newly employed staff at Rivers State University Teaching Hospital and the judiciary, timely payment of salaries and pensions. He also said his administration is reviewing implementation challenges of the contributory pension scheme ahead of the July 2025 deadline, while capacity building, specialized leadership training for top civil servants will start within 2 weeks. Administrator Abbas said active consideration is being given for the implementation of the 32,000 naira consequential adjustment for pensioners and clearing out outstanding gratuities. Responding, the state NLC chairman Alex Agwanwa thanked the administrator for his disposition towards alleviating the transportation problem faced by workers. In a related development, the administrator of Gokana Local Government Council, Professor Gospel Bear, says his administration will prioritize the welfare of local government workers and staff of the council. Professor Bear stated this during a meeting with principal officers and staff of the local government council at the council secretariat. He said the policy is in line with the directive of the River State Sole Administrator, Ibokete Ibas. He also urged the local government workers to embrace their duties with diligence and seriousness and assured them of receiving their salaries as at when due.
Workforce, as I encourage all of them to top up their game and take their duty and work seriously. This administration, in line with the directives of the sole administrator of Rivers State, shall show very great concern for staff welfare. When I leave here, you will not forget me. We are saying that this administration, in line with the directive of the sole administrator of Rivers State, shall show very great concern for staff welfare, ensuring that the staff feel the joy of service.
Professor Mayor also assured the people of Gokana that he will ensure that the primary health care facilities in Gokana are functional and support the security agencies to ensure the area becomes a safe haven for investors.
The sole administrator of the state has directed that emphasis be laid on the following areas. Primary health services. All local governments should ensure that primary health facilities function optimally. Sanitation in local government areas should be prioritized. Local government areas should ensure that the environment of all primary schools are kept clean. We will ensure to engage youths and stakeholders in local government. Local government areas should always support security agencies and ensure the protection and security of all state, national and national critical infrastructures in the local government.
Now on the spot, the chairman of Noge in Gokana, Bobari Zara Bege, pledged their support to the administration of Professor Gospel Bear. Moving on, the River State government has expressed surprise at what it called the deliberate misrepresentation of a lawful retrieval of 2 Toyota Hilux vehicles and 1 Hiace bus from the premises of the suspended Deputy Governor, Professor Ngozi Ondu. In a statement by the Senior Special Advisor to the State Government, Hector Ibikio-Ubo, the government expressed surprise that its routine administrative action aimed at securing government property has been twisted by those it described as political opportunists seeking to create unnecessary tension. And the state government also wondered what legitimate purpose the vehicles were serving in the premises of the suspended deputy governor after declaration of the state of emergency. The Zemin said that the recovery of assets cannot be construed as executive overreach and that the administration remains committed to prudent management of public resources and will not be distracted by what it termed baseless allegations. Now, reacting to this, a political scientist, Dr. Obin Nawodim, says the retrieval of vehicles attached to the suspended Deputy Governor of River State, Professor Ngozi Ondu, does not speak well of the sole administrator, whose mandate is to restore peace to the state. Speaking with our correspondent, Dr. Nawodim said the retrieval of the vehicles suggests some level of acrimony. He said the Deputy Governor was only suspended and should continue to enjoy some benefit attached to her office.
I think that they've not been removed from office. They have just been suspended. it doesn't mean that they are still not part of the government. They are just suspended for a few months. I'm going to retrieve vehicles from them to just speak well in the peace-building process in the state. I think that the mission of a sole administrator is to build peace amongst the parties in conflict here in Rivers State. And if you approach this kind of matter in a manner that suggests some level of acrimony, it doesn't suggest that there is any peace-building process that is ongoing in the state.
Coming up next, court dismisses River State government Okodumbo's suit against Speaker Amewule. 26 others. Stay with us.
Across the bridge.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Okay, welcome back, and now the rest of the news. As talks of reconciliation between the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and Governor Siminalayi Fubara continue to make headlines, several key voices in the political space are calling for genuine and lasting peace amid the ongoing crisis in Rivers State. Speaking with correspondent Suebi Oruwari, former spokesperson for civil society organizations in the state, Solomon Lenu, cast doubt on whether true peace can be achieved. He said Rivers State needs peace without conditions.
I have not seen any clear intention from the part of the Minister of the FCT to actually sue for peace. Today, if you look at what is going on, you will see that it is only the governor who is actually serious about the issue of peace in Rivers State, because you can see that from his body language, from his actions, We expected that the minister of the FCT should understand that leadership comes with responsibility, and one of those responsibilities is to make difficult sacrifices.
Meanwhile, Port Harcourt-based legal practitioner Vincent Chukwu urged the FCT minister to ensure that any peace initiative is aimed at serving the people of Rivers State, not just a strategy to expand political influence.
All stakeholders, the parties, assembly members, major political leaders and others. Was there any such settlement when Amechi finished his tenure? Was there any such settlement when Odili finished his tenure and handed over? Let us tell ourselves the truth. Wike foisted unilaterally by himself the crisis on Rivers State. It is purely Wike that has problem with his assembly members. So Wike should go and settle with the assembly members and leave Rivers people alone. Rivers people don't have problem with anybody.
Chukwu also said he would not be surprised if Governor Fubara followed other South-South governors to defect to the APC, adding that he would remain the best performing governor in the state.
The problem of Rivers State now is not about the party Sim belongs. Whatever party Sim belongs does not change who Sim is. Sim is already a very good man with a good mind to actually govern the Rivers people well and make the Rivers people enjoy their natural resources. In fact, Sim defecting to any other party he is doing so against his wish. There is nothing wrong, only that he is only dancing to the political imperative of the moment.
Meanwhile, a federal high court in Port Harcourt has dismissed a suit filed by Victor Okojumbo, two others, and Rivers State government against the Speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Amihuli, and 26 other lawmakers. Recall that Victor Okojumbo, two others, and Rivers State government, led by Governor Similai Fubara, filed a suit challenging the legitimacy of Martin Amihuli and 26 others as lawmakers after they allegedly defected from the PDP to the APC. Correspondent Mekwatoka reports that when the case came up in court, the lawyer for the claimant asked for more time, but lawyers for the Speaker and the other lawmakers opposed the request, and the judge, Justice Emmanuel Obele, agreed with them. In his judgment, Justice Obele said the court does not have the power to hear the case because the Supreme Court already determined it in a different matter, therefore dismissed the suit. In a similar development, a state high court in Port Harcourt will, on June 25, 2025, hear a motion for an order of injunction filed by the Chief of Staff to the suspended Rivers State Governor, Edison Ehie, against the Nigeria Police, Inspector General of Police, State Commissioner of Police, and Department of Security Services, DSS. Now, the court, presided over by Justice IPC Igwe, also adjourned on the same date to hear motion for injunctive orders brought by former chairman of Obiakpo local government area Chijioke Ihumo against the same security agencies. Edison Ehie and Chijioke Ihumo in separate suits are seeking the court to restrain the security agencies from inviting, harassing, arresting and detaining them in connection with the bombing of the Rivers State House of Assembly complex on 29 October 2023. It follows an allegation by former head of service Dr. George Wike that they were responsible for the bombing. The legal team of Edison Ehie says a judgment of a Rivers State High Court delivered by Justice Seka Aprioko in favor of their client has not been set aside. Elsewhere, the National Judicial Council, NJC, has directed the Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, to reverse the appointment of the acting Chief Judge of the state, Justice Theophilus Nnamdi Nzukwu, and appoint the most senior judge as the acting Chief Judge of the state. The NJC, under the leadership of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, also directed that Justice Nzukwu should be issued a query for presenting himself to be sworn in as a CJ. Justice Nzukwu was sworn in by Governor Uzodimma as the acting Chief Judge of Imo State on April 4th after the former Chief Judge, Justice Teresa Chikeka, was removed by the NJC following an indictment for age falsification. The NJC also suspended 3 judges for 1 year without pay. The affected judges are Justice Jane E. Eyang of the Court of Appeal, Uyo Division, Justice Eyang Ekpo of the Federal High Court, Abuja Division, Justice Aminu Bafa Aliyu of the Federal High Court in Zamfara State. Away from that, the management of Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas NLNG has launched one of its economic empowerment programs known as NLNG Vibes, formerly known as Youth Empowerment Scheme, YES, aimed at stimulating the growth of small businesses and youth within the host communities of the company. The rebranded NLNG Vibes, known as Vocational Innovative Business Entrepreneurial Scheme, is to ensure the growth and sustainability of small businesses owned and managed by previous YES beneficiaries from the company's host communities. The General Manager, External Relations and Sustainable Development, Dr. Sophia Horsfall, during the official launch of the NLNG Vibes, said the rebranded economic scheme is to ensure the growth and sustainability of small businesses owned by the host communities of the company. Dr. Horsfall was represented by Charles Ebele.
This strategic initiative is intent on unlocking entrepreneurship and empowering youths in our host communities for the sustainable development of the community. NLB believes that entrepreneurship is not just about starting and running a business, it's about creating opportunities that uplift the communities to drive economic growth and spark positive social change. In line with the NLNG's vision of improving lives sustainably, Vibes is a deliberate program to engender entrepreneurship and the networks needed to grow entrepreneurs and change makers in our community.
On a spot, the consultant of the NLNG Vibes, Charles Nwaniri, who spoke to the participants on the packages contained in the rebranded economic scheme, explained the benefits of the program.
The program is designed in such a way that after the training session and after the Pitcherton he mentioned earlier, and those who will progress beyond that, is designed in such a way that there is constant monitoring and evaluation. Because the whole idea behind this version of this program now is to be able to get the best from this current crop of participants so that the ripple effects of what they will be able to get in terms of empowering themselves will also get into the communities in the form of additional employment for other people around them.
Correspondent Suebi Oruwara reports that over 100 participants were drawn from the NLNG host communities for the first set of NLNG Vibes, and they are expected to engage in crafts like automotive, advanced welding, catering and hotel management, fashion designing and cosmetology, farm management, information and communication technology, as well as photography and video production. In other news, a group, Ogoni Liberation Initiative, has called on the newly reconstituted NNPC board to investigate the allegation of the release of $300 million Ogoni Compensation Fund to former River State Governor by the sacked board members. President of the group, Fabeke Douglas, made the call after a brief workshop at the environmental issues, on the environmental issues and challenges faced by the people of Ogoni, organized by a team of environmental experts in Abuja. Dr. Douglas expressed optimism that sacking of some of the NNPC top members should not exonerate them from alleged financial misconduct so as to serve as deterrent to others. Now, he called on President Bola Tinubu to continue to take bold steps to save the Ogoni communities and other communities facing environmental crisis in the Niger Delta region. Dr. Fabeke vowed that his organization will fight to ensure that all the Ogoni cleanup funds, including the over $366 million allegedly mismanaged by HyPrep and other individuals, will be accounted for. Dr. Douglas Fabeke used the medium to announce a program holding Friday 9th May in Norton Town Hall in Bori, tagged Exodus. We go on a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the news. The U.S. has signed a deal with Ukraine on the joint exploitation of its energy and mineral resources after months of tense negotiations. The two countries have agreed to establish a reconstruction investment fund to spur Ukraine's economic recovery from its war with Russia. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said it showed both sides were committed to lasting peace and prosperity in Ukraine. For Kyiv, the deal is seen as essential to accessing U.S. military aid. Now that's a wrap on the news this morning. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. Rivers government says it will return the free buses and pay local government workers minimum wage. Governor Fubara has pledged his continued support for workers amid political strain. Rivers government has defended the retrieval of vehicles from suspended deputy governor's residence. On the foreign scene, U.S. and Ukraine have signed a long-awaited natural resources deal. The news was edited by Martha Okere. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Moyele. Many thanks for listening.